Hello and welcome to YNWA Transfer News, your ultimate source for all Liverpool FC transfer news. Our first news is this: Liverpool transfer news. Live, Alexander Isak latest, Mark Guehi ready, Champions League draw. After Liverpool's pulsating first away match of the new season where the Reds won 3-2 away at Newcastle United, all eyes are on Alexander Isak to see what happens next in the player's long-running transfer saga. It says much about just how high-profile Isak's situation has become that it dominated the post-match discussion on Monday as much as Rio Ngumoha's record-breaking goal did. Eddie Howe claimed he was unaware of reports that a meeting had taken place in the hours before. But watch this space in terms of updates. Isak still wants to leave. Meanwhile, Mark Guehi remains a target, despite speculation of Manchester City's interest in the Crystal Palace defender. Liverpool's start to the new season has underlined the need for reinforcements at centre-back. Elsewhere, departures are still expected before Monday's deadline, with Roma in talks over a move for Kostas Tsimikas. Harvey Elliott could also move on, while several youngsters are expected to depart on loan, with an exit for James McConnell nearing. Dusan Vlahovic-linked Juventus is open to selling Dusan Vlahovic, and Liverpool could move for him if it can't get Alexander Isak, according to Team Talk. Take that with a big pinch of salt. Vlahovic was highly rated at Fiorentina but hasn't really ignited yet. Liverpool hasn't made another move for Isak yet, but the Swede is a completely different kind of player. Rodrigo claim Liverpool will bid for the Real Madrid forward Rodrigo on transfer deadline day if it can't get Alexander Isak. According to Give Me Sport, links with Rodrigo have been played down because of the emergence of Rio Ngumoha, but Liverpool could do with some more depth in its forward line. What Alexander Isak told Newcastle owners. Obviously, a huge question mark surrounds Alexander Isak. The information I've got is that the meeting on Monday didn't go too well. There certainly wasn't a positive resolution that came out of that. And that means that there still is a chance, I would say a fairly high chance as we stand here on Wednesday night, that Alexander Isak could leave for Liverpool. Look, it would be a lot more palatable for Newcastle if they managed to get a bare minimum of one player in. If you get two in, if you got Wissa, Strand-Larsen, I firmly believe that Isak will be allowed to go because I don't think, well, I know Eddie Howe doesn't need three center forwards, and Anthony Gordon. He likes having Anthony Gordon as his number 3. He obviously plays out wide primarily, but he likes having him as a number 3 striker. He doesn't need 3. Liverpool set to make new Mark Guehi approach. Liverpool are expected to make a new approach to Crystal Palace over a deal for Mark Guehi this week, though the defender's price tag will need to be reduced. The next 6 days will be pivotal, as Liverpool look to get 2 more signings over the line before the transfer deadline on Monday night, along with a potential British record deal for Newcastle striker Alexander Isak. The champions are also looking to secure a move for Guehi, but Liverpool have been unwilling to meet Palace's price tag of $40 million, with the Mail's Lewis Steele reporting that more talks are planned for this week. That comes with the hope that Guehi's asking price will be reduced. With it, previously explained that a deal worth an initial $30 million and $5 million in add-ons is seen as more realistic. Crystal Palace chairman Steve Parish has been frank in his assessment of the player's future, admitting after their 1-0 win over Fredrikstad FK last week that if he doesn't want to sign a contract, then we have to look at it. The England international has, by all accounts, set his heart on a move to Anfield, either this summer for a fee or next year on a free transfer, and Palace are minded to sell having entered the final year of his contract. This could smooth negotiations over a transfer before 7 p.m. on September 1st, but no deal will be sanctioned until Friday at the earliest. Palace manager Oliver Glasner has made clear that he needs Guehi available for the second leg of their UEFA Conference League qualifier against Fredrikstad on Thursday night, as he has no other options at centre-back. We have to keep him. Honestly, we have to. Especially for the second leg, he told Channel 5 after the opening leg at Selhurst Park. No injured player will come back. We can't register anyone, so we have to keep him. Liverpool are not anticipated to move. For another center-back, if a deal for GUEHI this summer is deemed impossible, with the 25-year-old viewed as an ideal market opportunity, Arne Slot already has Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahima Konate, Joe Gomez, and Giovanni Leone as options at the heart of defense, though concern over Konate's future highlights the need to sign GUEHI. Liverpool's best and worst-case Champions League draw as nightmare scenario outlined. Liverpool topped last season's new look, 36-team Swiss-style Champions League group, but then drew PSG in the first knockout round, losing on penalties to the eventual winner of the tournament. That perhaps shows that performing well at this stage of the competition is not necessarily vital for going all the way. But the Reds will want to avoid having to play 2 extra games in the new year and can do so by finishing inside the top 8 places. Today, at 5 p.m. UK time, 12 p.m. ET, Liverpool will find out who it will be facing. Over the next few weeks, with its 8 opponents, all from outside of the Premier League, set to be determined. Liverpool to submit new bid for Marc Guéhi with agreement in principle already sealed. Liverpool are set to submit a new bid to sign Crystal Palace defender Marc Guéhi before the transfer window shuts next week, according to reports. The Reds have already been very active in the summer transfer window with Hugo Ekitike, Florian Wirtz, Jeremy Frimpong, Milos Kerkez, and Giovanni Leone headlining their new signings. But Liverpool are far from done ahead of Monday's transfer deadline, with Liverpool likely to make further moves for Newcastle United striker Alexander Isak and Crystal Palace defender GUEHI. Last week, transfer expert Fabrizio Romano revealed that a deal for GUEHI is absolutely on, after speculation over a move to Liverpool had died down in recent weeks. Crystal Palace would love to keep Marc Guéhi. Chairman Steve Parish has said if he wants to sign a new contract, he can stay, but GUEHI has a clear intention to not sign any new deal and to try a new chapter. And that new chapter for GUEHI is Liverpool. We have to see if Liverpool and Palace can agree on a deal this summer. The two clubs are still talking. The deal for GUEHI is absolutely on. You remember what I told you 2 weeks ago, Giovanni Leone and GUEHI. That remains the case. Liverpool want to sign both. Will they be able to reach an agreement with Palace? We will see, but the conversation is still ongoing. So the GUEHI deal is on for Liverpool to get a new defender for Arne Slot in these final days of the transfer window. Romano gave an update on Wednesday. He added on X, "Understand Liverpool remain in active talks to sign Marc Guéhi immediately. LFC are ready to pay over $30 million now to get the deal done. But it depends on Crystal Palace. If Palace find replacement and let him go, GUEHI already said yes to the Reds. And now Italian journalist Niccolò Schira insists that Liverpool are readying a new bid to try to sign GUEHI before the transfer deadline next week. Agreement on 5-year deal. Fabrizio Romano confirms transfer talks with big impact for Liverpool. Newcastle's hopes of signing a top-quality successor for Liverpool-linked Alexander Isak are dwindling. Christopher. Nkunku looks set to be taken off the board this summer, with Chelsea and AC Milan closing in on a deal for the former Bundesliga hitman. Likewise, it remains to be seen whether Blues teammate Nicholas Jackson will remain an opportunity for the Magpies to exploit in the window. Fabrizio Romano confirms Chelsea talks with Liverpool consequences. Fabrizio Romano jumped onto X, formerly Twitter, this morning to confirm that AC Milan have an agreement on a 5-year deal for Nkunku's services. As such, it's increasingly likely that the Frenchman will be plying his trade in the Serie A come September 1st. The transfer news specialist previously noted that Jackson's future looks comparatively unclear at this stage. Intriguingly, however, Chelsea are understood to be paying close attention to the Alexander Isak saga as it develops before determining where to send the Senegalese striker. However, that certainly suggests they'd want to first see a clear direction of travel before sanctioning a move to St. James's Park. Newcastle still exploring Alexander Isak replacements. In the meantime, Newcastle continue to push for Wolves forward. Jurgen Strand Larsen. As Jan Åge Fjørtoft reports on X, there is a desire to get a deal done. However, the Wanderers' need for a replacement striker somewhat complicates matters. Matters aren't helped by the fact that the Jon Wissa deal looks pretty much dead in the water in light of Brentford's significant asking price. With the summer transfer window set to close in a matter of days, it's looking like a nail-biter of a sprint to September 1st. So where does this leave Liverpool and Alexander Isak? Newcastle have been unequivocally clear that they won't sanction the Sweden international's exit before at least getting one man in through the door. But that's looking like an increasingly unlikely scenario as the days roll by. Unless, of course, Chelsea are prepared to do the Magpies a favor in the closing stages of the window. Transfer News Live. Liverpool plots second Alexander Isak bid as Man United chase goalkeeper. Just days remain of the 2025 summer transfer window, with clubs across the Premier League scrambling to try and get as many moves across the line as possible. Manchester United, Manchester City, Chelsea, and Liverpool are among those being tipped to sanction new deals before Monday's deadline. Alexander Isak has been a big player of the window so far, but the Swede is still pushing for his move to Merseyside. Whereas, following a poor performance against League Two Grimsby Town in the League Cup, Andre Onana could find his starting spot as United's goalkeeper under yet more threat. Chelsea remain favourites to sign Xavi Simons, but only if they're able to offload players currently at the club, while City remain in the mix to sign departing Paris Saint-Germain goalkeeper Gianluigi Donnarumma. Express Sport is across all of the latest transfer news and updates. Xavi Simons makes transfer priority. Clear Xavi Simons is reportedly pushing for a move to the Premier League. The RB Leipzig ace has been linked with a Chelsea transfer for most of the window. But in the last few days, Tottenham Hotspur have emerged as a potential candidate. It's claimed by German outlet Bild that Simons is keen to ply his trade in England, which could open the door for Spurs. Man United closing in on goalkeeper signing after Andre Onana struggles Manchester. United are reportedly closing in on the signing of Senna Lammens from Antwerp. The shot stopper, who is expected to cost somewhere in the region of $17 million, has been subject to transfer interest from across Europe. However, according to Caught Offside, it's United who are expected to secure his signature. It comes after Andre Onana's horror show against Grimsby in the League Cup. Newcastle braced for. Second Alexander Isak bid. Newcastle United are reportedly expecting a second Alexander Isak bid as Liverpool plot the striker's escape route. Liverpool have been chasing after Isak's signature all summer, but have been met with fierce pushback from their Premier League rivals. It's reported by iNews that Newcastle are expecting a second offer to land. In their inbox before Monday's deadline, Liverpool have already seen one proposal waved away by Newcastle this summer. The Magpies have claimed Isak will only be allowed to leave if their valuation is met and they're able to sign an adequate replacement. Liverpool. Confident of signing Alexander Isak and Marc Guehi in stunning 180-meter double transfer. Liverpool are reportedly growing in confidence about striking deals to sign Alexander Isak and Marc Guehi before the transfer window closes. The Reds have already spent over $300 million this summer, bolstering their squad with the likes of Florian Wirtz, Milos Kerkez, Hugo Ekitike, and Jeremy Frimpong. However, Arne Slot's side remain in the market for further reinforcements. Having sold Darwin Núñez and Luis Diaz to Al Hilal and Bayern Munich respectively, the Premier League champions are short of numbers in the attacking department, but have identified Isak to solve this issue. Isak has been Liverpool's #1 target all summer, and they saw a bid of 110 meters for the Sweden international rejected by Newcastle at the start of the month. The Magpies had been hopeful of keeping their star striker, but the Mirror states that a deal can be struck with the 25-year-old reiterating his stance to the board of his desire to join the Merseyside Giants. According to reports, ISAK could be allowed to leave St. James's Park if two conditions are met. One being if Newcastle can sign replacements amid links to Wolves' Jorgen Strand Larsen and Brentford Jon Wissa. In addition, Eddie Howe's side are adamant their 150 meters valuation of ISAK must be met. Meanwhile, Liverpool are ready to make their move for GUEHI. The Crystal Palace captain is now into the final year of his contract at Selhurst Park, and Chairman Steve Parish is keen to avoid losing the England international for free next summer. As per the Mirror, the Reds are hopeful of reaching an agreement for lower than GUEHI's 40-meter valuation, with Fabrizio Romano claiming a 30-meter bid is being prepared. Liverpool told Alexander Isak transfer reality with agreement expected. Emile Heskey believes an agreement will be reached between Liverpool and Newcastle United in the final days of the transfer window for Alexander Isak, and the Sweden international has been tipped to be a roaring success at Anfield. The Premier League champions had a 110 millimeters bid rejected for Isak at the beginning of the month after the forward had opted against flying out on the Magpies' pre-season tour of the Far East before returning to training at the facilities of his former club, Real Sociedad. Last week, Isak, who hasn't kicked a ball for Newcastle since May, released an explosive statement on his Instagram account, citing broken promises and lost trust before the club hurried out. A response insisting the conditions to allow their star striker to leave had not yet been met. Meanwhile, the Magpies have found sourcing a successor difficult, having failed to land Liam Delap and João Pedro, who both joined Chelsea, Hugo Ekitike, who moved to Anfield, and Benjamin Sesko, who completed a 73-meter move to Manchester United earlier this month. Eddie Howe's recruitment team are currently attempting to bring in Jon Wissa from Brentford and Jorgen Strand Larsen of Wolverhampton Wanderers. I think Newcastle and Liverpool will come to some agreement, Heskey said. It's disappointing how it's actually played out, but it probably works in both teams' favor that they come to some agreement. But the reality is, as a club, if you've got a contract with a player, you hold the ace. So I don't blame Newcastle at all. They have to try and get the best they can out of their asset. The hoo-ha that they're having around that right now, and the pressure that is probably there, is a lot different to what I would have had to go through. First and foremost is to enjoy it, if Isak's move to Liverpool happens. The fans are going to love you. One of the best things about Liverpool fans is they love and get behind their players. I know he's gone now, but look at Darwin Núñez. There was a lot of pressure on him to score goals, but the fans got behind him, sang his name, and made him very welcome whenever he was on the pitch. And they're always like that. They'll always get behind you as long as you work hard and produce. Former England international Heskey, who was speaking to Gambling.com, added, I've got no doubt that Isak will produce. He'll be fantastic if he eventually comes. They do need someone else. The reality is, you always need two strikers that challenge each other, because you push each other to try and be better. We played with two up front, so we had 5 in my time at Liverpool. You're always pushing each other because you're at the biggest club in the world, and you've got to be challenged all the time. You've got to be challenged to push yourself to do better and do more and more. So having someone that pushes these players is key in each position. If you get complacent, that's when bad things can happen. But I definitely think there's room for one more forward. Liverpool perform U-turn on demands with transfer unlocked and star pushing a lot. Liverpool have informed Roma of their change in stance over a fan favorites move, with a deal now likelier to occur, according to Fabrizio Romano. The Saiprisati transfer headlines around Anfield at present continue to be dominated by Marc Guehi and Alexander Isak. However, bubbling under the surface are Liverpool's attempts to trim their squad even further. Kostas Tsimikas, now third choice at left-back following Milos Kerkez's arrival, has the green light to leave. Liverpool initially sought a permanent sale and told confirmed suitor Roma as much. As Roma have approached Liverpool today for Kostas Tsimikas to join on initial loan deal, wrote Fabrizio Romano on Monday. Tsimikas wants the move, but no green light to the formula yet as their LFC insist on permanent exit. There are two more clubs in the race for the Greek left-back. The other two clubs understood to be interested in signing Tsimikas are Marseille and Nottingham Forest. However, a move to Roma could yet occur after the latest from Ronano revealed. Liverpool have now opened the door to a straight loan. That increases the chances of a deal getting done, though it's not yet a slam dunk despite Tsimikas pushing for the move. Roma are considering whether to proceed and get deal done as they wanted a buy option clause. Tsimikas pushing a lot as he wants Roma. Tsimikas a victim of circumstance. The arrival of Milos Kerkez, 40 millimeters, Bournemouth, arose due to the sharp decline of Andy Robertson last term. The Scot is unquestionably Liverpool's greatest left-back in the Premier League era, though the 31-year-old's decline was impossible to ignore. However, 3-1 does not go and the odd man out is fan favorite, Kostas Tsimikas. Ironically, had Robertson still been the player he once was, Kerkez would not have been signed and Tsimikas would be staying. Unfortunately for the player referred to among Liverpool fans as the Greek Scouser, Tsimikas' demotion to third place in the pecking order is not a result of his own shortcomings. Thank you for watching. Like and comment, subscribe.